The Earth Defense Army, or EDA, turned the mining colonies of Mars into labor camps, and the Martians became slaves on their own planet. A rebel group, the Red Faction, opposed the EDA. Their leader, Alec Mason, called for an alliance with the Marauders, but when the EDA was destroyed, the alliance fell apart and the Marauders took Mason's wife and daughter. After that, the leader began to sit in a bar, and his son Jake is now a lieutenant of the colonists. One day, he arrests his father for another fight and takes him to the police station. An expert on Earth technology, Tess, intervenes in a conversation with his boss. The girl was born on Earth, and now it seems to her that the native Martians have animosity towards her. The boss announces that there are no claims against Mason, and the son takes him home. In recent years, terraformers have improved living conditions on the planet, but the climate is still cool. Jake tries to persuade his father to abstain from drinking. Later, he returns to duty, where he learns that the remains of an EDA ship, once destroyed in orbit, are falling on Mars. One of them should fall on the territory of the Marauders, which cannot be allowed because there may be valuable technologies there. Jake must be the first to reach the drop zone and claim the rights of the colonists, and Tess will go with him as an expert. The group sets off, but suddenly the ship gets into an anomaly and begins to fall to the surface of Mars. The pilots stabilize the ship and land near the fallen object. They go inside the ship, and suddenly Jake sees people ahead and remembers the Marauders who attacked their house in exactly the same suits. They destroyed his mother and took his sister prisoner. The colonists find several fallen Marauders and see a group in white carrying some device from the ship. Jake attacks one of them and discovers a girl under the mask who looks like his mother. She runs away and Jake returns to the ship. Returning, he learns that the leader of the Marauders, Maya, is outraged by their attack on her people. Jake confirms that there were people in white on the ship. Among them was a girl whom he believes to be his sister, Lyra, but no one believes the guy. He tells his father everything, but he also does not think that his daughter could still be alive. Then the guy decides to go to the Marauders' territory on his own. Unexpectedly, Tess asks to be a partner. The couple flies through dangerous landscape to hide from the colonists scanning. Jake points to a settlement of miners. He has a friend there and ejects the girl from the plane. After a while, he gets to the fence and goes inside. At this time, Jake's commander expresses his indignation to Mason about his son's disobedience. Jake settles down for the night, and a couple of Marauders attack his tent. After a short fight, the people realize that they will have to negotiate. The Marauders are surprised to learn his name. His mother's story is well known. Corvallis and Leo join Jake, who explains the purpose of his journey. Corvallis agrees to take the guy to the town of Asimov, where all paths converge. Jake is amazed by the atmosphere there. Leo steps aside to a girl he likes. The beauty takes the guy to an alley, and Jake goes to a bar, where he hopes to find the information he needs. He is found by Tess, who took the car from his friend and came to report that white soldiers stole part of a nuclear reactor from a fallen ship, which serves to charge ships and weapons of the EDA. His enemies may be part of the army that was considered defeated. At this time, a street girl takes Leo to a dark alley where he is grabbed by slave traders, and the main mafioso of the town comes out to Jake. He confirms that soldiers in white uniforms were recently at the market. The bandit knows where the people Jake needs have gone, but the mafioso does not want to reveal this information to him. Tess says that she hacked the lock on the mafioso's tracking device and knows where the white soldiers have gone. At this time, Corvallis catches up with the slave traders and enters the fight for Leo. Together with Jake, they fight off the guy, and after that, Jake says goodbye to the Marauders. Mason contacts Maya, the leader of the Marauders, and asks the woman to save his son's life. The police arrest the man for an illegal call. Meanwhile, Jake and Tess find a ship of white soldiers. Jake asks the girl to stay because if he returns, she will have to report their discovery, and goes to the ship. The guy gets inside and soon finds Lyra, who recognizes Jake, but hands the guy over to the military. Jake is thrown into a cell where he finds Tess, who disobeyed his order and also went to the ship. Meanwhile, the ship's commander, Hale, questions the leader of the white faction, Nicholas, because the DNA test confirmed the relationship between Jake and Lyra. The man confirms his version, according to which he once saved the girl from death, finding her near the burned ship. But when the girl leaves, Nicholas reveals the truth. When the number of EDA was reduced, they had to recruit recruits. Lyra was taken specifically to demoralize Mason. Meanwhile, Lyra goes to Jake. Her brother tells how everything really happened, but the girl does not believe him. She searches Jake's things, finds a photo frame, and goes to her cabin. Meanwhile, the lieutenant asks Tess to take off her t-shirt to distract the guard who came in and try to escape. But the guard turns out to be a girl, so she immediately pounces on Jake. Tess stuns her. The couple manage to escape from the cabin, but in the corridor, they meet Lyra. They are about to be taken into custody again, But Corvallis and Leo burst into the ship to help Jake. The white soldiers lose, but Tess is wounded. Together, they escape from the ship. Lyra begins to remember the real version of her abduction. Hale orders to put into action their plan to attack the colony under the guise of Marauders. People see a huge EDA ship flying out of the sand, heading for Eos, but they cannot catch up with it. The white faction bombs the colony. Lyra remembers her family. She realizes that she was lied to all this time. Meanwhile, Jake's ship reaches Eos. The colonists do not believe that they were not bombed by Marauders, but then Jake appears and reports that he found EDA soldiers. The colonists do not believe Jake and arrest him for treason and desertion. In prison, they meet Mason and Jake tells them everything he learned while Corvallis picks the locks on their cell. The group escapes with Mason. They set off on an armed shuttle. The group plans to free Lyra and blow up the white ship. Jake asks his father to give them 10 minutes, then shoot the ship. They go after Lyra, while the white faction, using the found nuclear reactor, loads its cannon to strike the colony. Hale is informed about Jake's appearance on the ship. Nicholas believes that Lyra was helping her brother all this time and takes up a knife. He attacks the girl, but Jake manages to come to the rescue. While Leo and Corvallis fight off the soldiers, the brother and sister destroy Nicholas. The couple runs to the exit, but Hale stops them. He takes them at gunpoint, but Lyra reminds that the whites lied to her. She asks the guy to go with her, but he refuses. But Hale lets brother and sister go. The group gets to their shuttle, but the whites' missiles pursue them. Mason manages to escape the attack, but the shuttle is damaged and his gun cannot fire. Father and daughter meet for the first time in years. At this time, Hale orders the cannon to be aimed at the terraformer. Blowing it up, he will destroy the colony and the Marauders. Jake understands what must happen. At this time, Tess calls him and advises him to use the shuttle itself instead of missiles and direct it straight at the ship. Mason hears this conversation, goes to the shuttle and takes off. The man says goodbye to his family over the radio and directs the ship at the whites. The ship explodes and falls apart. After some time, representatives of the Marauders come to the colonists as they intend to make peace. Jake calls for the creation of a new world for the benefit of all Martians. Maya expresses disbelief in such an alliance, but Leo suddenly comes forward, who turns out to be her son, and also calls for the creation of a single faction. The boys exchange knives and form a new alliance called the Red Faction, after which Jake brings Lyra home for the first time in years. The girl recognizes her toys and smiles gratefully at her brother.